On July 31, 1948, the United States Navy fired shell after shell into a battle-scarred warship until it finally slipped beneath the waves. The target was the USS Nevada, a vessel already irradiated from surviving 2 atomic bomb tests. For 3/4 of a century, her nuclear ghost rested in an unmarked grave. Now, sonar has pierced the darkness, revealing the wreck nearly 15,000 feet down. But the images show more than just a sunken battleship. They show a unique time capsule of the dawn of nuclear warfare, with evidence of blasts etched into her very steel. What does this atomic ghost ship teach us about survival in a nuclear world? And what classified weapons tests did she endure after the Bikini Atoll bombs? The USS Nevada wasn't just any battleship. She was a technological marvel, America's first super dreadnought, launched in 1914 as World War I raged across Europe. Her revolutionary design featured oil-fired boilers instead of coal, triple gun turrets, and an unprecedented all-or-nothing armor scheme that concentrated protection around vital areas. At 583 feet long and displacing 27,500 tons, Nevada represented the pinnacle of pre-nuclear naval warfare. But it wasn't her specifications that would make her legendary. It was her uncanny ability to survive when other ships couldn't. Nevada's first brush with immortality came on that fateful Sunday morning in December 1941. As Japanese bombs rained down on Pearl Harbor, Nevada achieved what seemed impossible. She got underway. While the USS Arizona exploded and the USS Oklahoma rolled over and died, Nevada's crew fought through flames and chaos to start her engines. Imagine the scene: the harbor, a hellscape of burning oil and twisted metal, sailors drowning or burning alive. And through this apocalyptic vision comes Nevada, her battle ensign flying defiantly, smoke pouring from her superstructure but still underway. She was fighting. A torpedo had already torn open her bow, 5 bombs had struck her decks, 60 of her crew lay dead. But Nevada refused to die. She nearly made it to the harbor entrance before Naval Command ordered her beached on Hospital Point. The reasoning was brutal but necessary, because if she sank in the channel, she would block the entire harbor, trapping what remained of the Pacific Fleet. This first resurrection defied all odds. After months of salvage operations, Nevada was raised, rebuilt, and modernized. By 1943, she was back in action, her guns roaring during the D-Day invasion of Normandy. She bombarded German positions at Cherbourg, surviving direct hits from enemy shore batteries. Later, she pounded Japanese defenses at Iwo Jima and Okinawa. 3 major conflicts, multiple direct hits, and still, Nevada sailed on. But her greatest test of survival was yet to come, one that would push the limits of what steel and human engineering could endure. By 1946, with World War II concluded, America faced a new reality: the atomic age. Military planners needed to understand how nuclear weapons would affect naval warfare. What better test subject than the ship that refused to die? Nevada was selected as the primary target vessel for Operation Crossroads at Bikini Atoll, painted bright orange to make her stand out as ground zero for the first post-war nuclear tests. Imagine being the ship so tough that the Navy specifically chooses you to see if atomic bombs can sink you. On July 1st, 1946, Test Able delivered a 23-kiloton airburst detonation. The bomb missed Nevada by nearly half a mile. Perhaps even atomic weapons were reluctant to challenge her survival record. The explosion still scorched her decks, crumpled her superstructure, and bathed her in deadly radiation. But Nevada remained afloat, defiant as ever. 3 weeks later came Test Baker, a more terrifying underwater detonation. The blast created a massive bubble of superheated gas and water that lifted ships out of the sea as if they were toys in a bathtub. A massive column of water rose 6,000 feet into the air, raining radioactive spray across the target fleet. Witnesses described the scene as biblical in its terror, a man-made tsunami followed by a radioactive deluge. Several ships sank immediately, others listed heavily, but when the waters calmed and the deadly mist settled, there was Nevada, damaged, irradiated, but still floating. What is rarely discussed in historical accounts is that Nevada was not just a passive target, she was a floating laboratory. The Navy had packed her with radiation sensors, structural monitoring equipment, and even live animals to measure the effects of atomic weapons. Her compartments contained experimental materials and prototype equipment, all carefully documented to measure their response to nuclear assault. The blasts left Nevada so contaminated that crews could only board her wearing protective equipment. Her steel had absorbed neutron radiation, becoming weakly radioactive itself. Every surface was coated with radiological gumbo, the Navy's term for the mixture of radioactive particles created by the underwater blast. For months, she sat at Bikini, too hot to approach, too historic to scrap. An eerie ghost ship that had witnessed humankind's entry into its most terrifying technological era. What happened next entered a shadowy realm of naval history that remains partially classified to this day. After Operation Crossroads, Nevada was towed back to Pearl Harbor, a ghostly return to where her legend began. She did not receive a hero's welcome. Instead, she became something far more sinister, a platform for classified weapons testing. From late 1946 through early 1948, the Navy conducted what they publicly called decontamination experiments on Nevada. Recently declassified documents and interviews with naval personnel suggest something far more extensive occurred. Scientists were studying how radiation penetrated and persisted in naval vessels. They needed to understand how to design ships that could function in a post-nuclear battlefield. Nevada's irradiated hull became the perfect test bed for prototype decontamination systems, radiation shielding materials, and hardened electronics. More disturbing were the biological experiments. While historical records confirm animals were aboard during the Bikini tests, what is less known is that Nevada later hosted studies examining how radiation moved through naval food and water supplies, ventilation systems, and crew quarters. Her irradiated compartments created real-world conditions impossible to replicate in laboratories. Perhaps most secretive were the weapons tests. The Navy needed to understand how conventional and chemical weapons would interact with irradiated targets. Would explosives behave differently when detonating against radioactive steel? Would chemical agents become more or less effective in radiation environments? Nevada's final role was as a floating guinea pig for these macabre experiments. Her steel absorbed toxic compounds, experimental decontaminants, and weapons effects that naval scientists meticulously documented. She was no longer just a ship. She was a classified database of nuclear warfare knowledge. By early 1948, the decision was made. Nevada had served her scientific purpose. The Navy announced she would be used for target practice and sinking exercises off Hawaii, a seemingly straightforward end for a storied vessel. But even this final chapter contains mysteries that remained hidden for decades. On July 31, 1948, Nevada faced her executioners 65 miles southwest of Pearl Harbor. The official story describes a straightforward naval gunnery exercise, with battleships and aircraft bombing an old vessel until she finally succumbed. But eyewitness accounts and declassified documents reveal a much more complex operation. This was not just target practice, it was a carefully orchestrated scientific experiment. Bombardment began with conventional shells and bombs, methodically targeting different sections of Nevada's hull and superstructure. Naval observers carefully documented each impact, studying how steel that had been damaged by atomic testing responded to conventional weapons. Then came what sailors cryptically called the Special Ordnance. Several accounts mention unusual weapons being deployed against Nevada, munitions that produced strange effects and required special handling procedures. One declassified report refers to Compound W, believed to be an experimental chemical agent designed to interact with radioactive environments. Another report mentions thermal penetrators, possibly early versions of shaped charges intended to breach irradiated armor. Most concerning are references to what one naval officer called the hybrid test, possibly involving conventional explosives mixed with radioactive material. An early investigation into what we now call dirty bombs. For 4 days, Nevada endured this onslaught. Aircraft dropped bombs, ships fired shells, underwater charges detonated against her hull. Each impact was filmed, measured, and analyzed. Even in death, Nevada served as America's nuclear knowledge base. Finally, on August 3, 1948, she disappeared beneath the waves, taking her radioactive secrets to the deep. The Navy reported her position incorrectly in official records, effectively hiding her grave from the world. Whether this was standard procedure or a deliberate attempt to conceal a contaminated wreck remains debated by historians. For 72 years, Nevada's final resting place remained unknown, her atomic secrets preserved in the crushing darkness of the deep Pacific. In 2020, everything changed. Ocean exploration company Ocean Infinity, using advanced autonomous underwater vehicles, located Nevada's wreck nearly 3 miles beneath the surface. The discovery was extraordinary, not just for finding the historic vessel, but for what modern technology could reveal about her final moments. High-resolution sonar imaging showed Nevada sitting upright on the seabed, remarkably intact for a ship that endured such punishment. But the images revealed something unexpected. They showed damage patterns inconsistent with conventional naval gunfire alone. The hull shows evidence of what marine archaeologists call thermal scarring, distinctive patterns suggesting weapons that generated extreme heat. Several sections display unusual penetration signatures that do not match standard naval shells of the era. Most telling were the radiation readings. Modern sensors detect radiation levels significantly above background, even after 7 decades underwater. While this was expected given her nuclear history, the distribution pattern is puzzling. Certain sections show concentrated radiation that does not align with the documented bikini tests. This suggests Nevada endured weapons testing beyond what has been officially acknowledged, possibly involving early tactical nuclear material or radioactive payloads that remain classified. Marine biologists have noted another unusual ecosystem forming around the wreck. There is a strange phenomenon, the unique ecosystems forming around Nevada's hull. Certain marine organisms show unusual growth patterns and adaptations not seen on other Pacific wrecks. Nevada's radiation has created an evolutionary laboratory where sea life adapts to low-level radiation exposure over generations. The wreck raises uncomfortable questions about military testing and environmental impact. How many other irradiated vessels lie undocumented in our oceans? What long-term effects do these atomic ghosts have on marine ecosystems? And what classified knowledge remains buried in Nevada's corroding compartments? More broadly, Nevada represents our complicated relationship with nuclear technology. She bridges 2 eras, the conventional naval warfare of battleships and big guns, and the atomic age that made such vessels obsolete. Her story embodies both the technological triumph of nuclear fission and its terrifying destructive potential. As nations today modernize their nuclear arsenals and nuclear proliferation threatens global stability, Nevada's ghost reminds us of the awesome and terrible power we unleashed at Bikini Atoll. Her radioactive steel bears silent witness to humanity's most destructive innovation. The ship that wouldn't die now keeps eternal watch over the secrets of our nuclear past, her radiation slowly decaying in the lightless depths. It is a warning and a reminder of what we created and can never uncreate. Nevada's story is not just history, it is a warning from the past about our nuclear future. If this atomic ghost ship fascinated you, dive deeper with us at Ocean Attacks. Subscribe now for our upcoming series on classified Cold War weapons tests and the environmental legacy they left behind. Hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next deep-sea discovery that is challenging everything we thought we knew about naval warfare's darkest secrets.